Barbershop Report with
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. Barbershop Jay, your host today. Sitting alongside, you already know, to my left, Coach Delmar. And to my right, our partner in crime, D. Gunn.
How y'all doing out there?
What's happening?
Man, I was getting ready to say here's what's happening. You know what, man?
Apologize.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize.
Let's get it.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the last time we were here, we were talking pre-draft. NFL draft, I should say. And I brought these guys back. Well, I brought Coach Delmar back, and I brought my partner back here so we can take a post-draft analysis, if you would, of 2014 NFL draft. And basically, I want to know, as we all want to know, seeing how we coming to you, not live, mind you, from the Tuckahoe capital of the world, Cleveland, Ohio, did the Browns get it right? Well, let me start things off by saying, heed to the hockey sticks, no. Now, yeah, wow, that's right, that's a cable company, by the way. And when I say that, in particular, I want to know, did Ray Farmer get it right? Because he was the man, he's the orchestrator of pulling the pieces. So you got a green thumb. We all know, I mean, you know, what that's supposed to mean. Yeah, anyhow, again, personally, they started off well. I liked how they maneuvered, if you will, or positioned themselves to go down to what, 9?
Yes.
And
to 8.
Okay, and then to 8, right, and to get Justin Gilbert or whatnot. I liked how they positioned themselves to do that. But to me, it seemed right when they got, once they got to Manziel, the wheels fell off. And nothing is more apparent, nothing is more apparent than that than you look at all the hoopla surrounding Johnny Football now that we got him, and I'm not sure, did they draft anybody else?
You know, I would say it would appear as if the Browns' first draft pick was the 22nd pick.
Exactly.
And you know what? I don't know if I'm okay or not okay with that. I think to draft them number 22, if that was the Browns' idea to draft Johnny Manziel, I don't think they missed with that. What I like, though, about it, I guess it speaks to how I feel about the draft, is, you know what? They went out there at number 8. They played poker. They played a heck of a game of poker. I don't even want to go fish with Ray Farmer.
Hold on, can I stop you right there? Yeah. Just you been talking to him?
No.
That sounds like something he was.
Listen, my analogy was.
Hold on, he went.
But I'm going to tell you I'm going to help out what he said, because you tried to, that was shot at me, folks. But
yeah,
my man said poker. I said the NFL is playing checkers. Ray Farmer's playing chess.
That's what I said.
Oh man.
Go ahead. Here's what I mean.
Back in the
all right, so here's what I mean when it comes to the draft. I just look at the idea. Listen, I don't think Justin Gilbert was on anybody's top 5 draft one. I really don't. I mean, I'm not talking about the pundits or the mock drafts. I'm talking about the guys, the GMs, and the people actually doing the picking. So the idea of this, they knew that they had in mind a player that nobody was going to grab, but they knew also they had in mind a pick for a player that everybody else wanted. They played that extremely well, and they took care of a key need. They locked down their secondary, okay, by picking Justin Gilbert, and then giving Joe Hayden ridiculous amount of money. Not to say that that's bad.
But we're talking about Joe Hayden.
But the idea of it is, do I think they did well in this draft? I would say on the basis of them picking who they picked to satisfy a need, not really needing to address any other immediate needs through the draft. Because keep in mind, one thing that we didn't hear in all this draft talk is, what did they do in free agency? How about those moves? How about the idea that you already have a young base from the previous organizational leadership beforehand, and you really didn't have to address a lot of needs in the draft because you have a lot of young talent that apparently this organization, this front office, seems to value.
Okay, that's you want to weigh in?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
No, that's why this draft gets an A triple plus, because just what Gully said towards the end, the free agency set them up. The free agency always sets up your draft. We already had an influx of young talent that had to just be groomed and polished up. Then you bring in the veterans, as you have with Dansby and Whitner, and last year with Kruger and Groves and those guys. So now your board and your vision becomes way more clear through the draft. You again, James, you said Gully said that Gilbert wasn't on nobody's board. He was on their board. He felt the need that they needed. Not what the NFL said or the pundit said. He fit their need for their type of coach and their type of style that they're going to run. Penn loves 6 foot and over corners that are aggressive and long and athletic. That's Justin Gilbert.
Okay, well, hold on.
Richard
Hold on.
Sherman.
Okay, hold on.
All right.
Here's where I'm coming from with this.
Okay.
First of all, we talking about draft grades, because that's one of the other things we're going to get to. Realistically, let's use the 83 draft, NFL draft, for instance. You cannot, I know it makes for great TV, but you cannot grade a draft. They didn't grade the 83 draft until after Marino and Elway and all of them had put forth an NFL draft grade product. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying?
But
So
that's what we do.
Okay,
That's what we do. That's our job to do that.
No, listen. No, you're right. But our job too is to be realistic. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I know again, I know there's no disrespect to y'all's opinion now, that's why we all here. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, we gotta be realistic. I know it's fun to talk about, but let's say, for instance, I'm just throwing out, let's say every pick in the first round is a bust.
Okay.
Now what is now what?
Everybody got
So exactly. So in other words, that B that you gave this team and that team and that, now what do they all get?
Well,
So hold on. And then secondly, I'll say this. If you really and truly were set at all your other positions, you didn't really need to draft this or draft that or whatever the case may be, then explain to me at the wide receiver position, for instance, where were they solid at right there? Because it's always been my contention. At the end of the day, I don't care about the player's name. I don't care about the player's position. All I care about is making the guy on the other side of the ball have Maylocks nights. And it's no way in the world, based off of the tape, because I go by the eye test, okay? Based off the tape that I've seen, not from all the players that they picked, but the majority of them, the Bitianos, the Sammy Watkins, and you know, and the headliners, and the guy from Townsend State, Terrence West or whatnot. Based off the tape, Gilbert, and we set Manziel aside for a minute here. Gilbert, out of all the other picks, Gilbert is the only one that I saw on tape that I could say, he's going to make the offensive coordinators have to really do their homework. Everybody else, I'm not so sure. And then lastly, we talk about need. I'm not so sure I really like that word need, because again, I go back to Herman Arvey, former Browns offensive lineman, who I know most people unfortunately still don't like to hear this, who made the jump from Cleveland to Baltimore when they left, said to me, go look at, and I challenge anybody out there, go look at the Ravens roster in '96. And in particular, their running back position versus their offensive line position. Not tackle, guard, or nothing. Their offensive line position. And then you would say to yourself, oh my gosh, they need a running back. But the Ravens took who? Jonathan Ogden. You understand what I'm saying? So my thing is, I don't care if you already got a guy at this position, in that position that's been balling out. I want to draft, and you and I discussed this before. Forget position. Give me the top 100 players. The top 100 players, regardless of position, and then show me where the Browns pick at, and then give me at 4 the 4th best guy out of that 100. Because again, it's 100 and how many Division I schools? 117. How many players just plus or minus on the roster? Let's say 60, right? So you multiply 60 times 117. Give me the top one. Show me who the top 100 players are out of them. How many of them players are, and then show me where the Browns picking at. And now we got impact players.
Well, you had to just figure, when you say like we always say, put the top 100 guys in the room, and the Browns have 7 of the top 100, that's, for argument purpose, you can say, okay, well, give me that guy, but in their room, on their board, though they got the top 7 players out that they felt was on that 100 list. Because there's no way you can argue against Gilbert at all. He fits exactly what your new head coach is designed to do. Right. Not only does he fit, he fits your division. You have AJ Green. You have Sanu from Cincinnati. You still have Antonio Brown. Now you have Steve Smith in Baltimore, along with Torrey Smith. So now you got a big physical corner that can handle his own, where you will have, like I said, because it's a copycat league. People that towards the end of the year start rotating the other guys over to Buster Screen and having field days, getting fantasy points out the roof.
Right.
So now you can't do that. So now again, to your analogy about the Maddox nights, our physical coordinators now have to really earn their money. We got to really schematically plan against Joe Hayden and Gilbert now. And I disagree again. You said only Gilbert gonna make an impact. The boy from Lindenwood, Desir, is going to be a star.
Okay, no, I'm not.
He's going to be a star. He's hungry. He's thirsty. He's humble. He's polished. He's 24 years old.
No, but listen. But I said the guys that I watched. I didn't watch that guy, so I can't speak on him.
Oh, no, and I can't sit here and act like I did either.
You see what I'm saying?
I popped the tape in afterwards like everyone else did, and I was thoroughly impressed from the jump.
Yeah, but I watch it. I'm see that. Okay, that's fine. Pop tape in, but I'm watching it live. And here's the thing to me. When I'm doing a grade, if you would, for lack of a better word or term, or an assessment or an analysis of a player, at my house, I turn the TV on. I multitask. Sports come on, I turn the TV on. I'm not always watching it right there.
Okay.
I might be ironing the kids' clothes. I might be doing other things. But when I hear the announcer keep calling a guy's name, I stop everything else I'm doing and I sit down and I pay. Now I'm really paying attention. Because there's no way in the world, before the first set of commercials come on, I heard this guy's name 10 times. You understand what I'm talking about? That is no denying. There's no guesswork in that. You understand what I'm talking about? There is no, well, he might, there's no projections when you hear a guy's name being called 55 times on game day, whether they're Saturdays or Sundays. That to me is a translatable. If nothing else, that's a translatable to the next level. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right. So with Gilbert, I'm fine. To me, they got a Gilbert at 8 when they probably could have got him at 4. You can make a case for it. That's a show for another day. So I'm cool with that. I said they started off well. I said that. But when they got to Manziel, I'm asking myself, and I will, for the sake of argument, as a purist, being fair, when I go back to my top 100, I could say that Johnny Manziel, in reality, realistically, was better than the 22nd out of that 100. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So again, let's not mesh the lines here, blur the lines if you would. My reasons for saying I didn't want Manziel had nothing to do with his ability and that he can play. It's the savior mentality in this town that gets skewered because it's apparent right now. That's what we're talking about. Here it is. We have a guy who the hype and all of the conversation surrounding him. My goodness, you would have thought that he already done won us a Super Bowl. And you mean to tell me, at the end of the day, that all of the attention that he's garnered, to me, it would seem as if though he solves all of our problems.
Well, he appears to.
Exactly. And looks can be deceiving.
Looks can be deceiving. I'd like to address that. I mean, he appears to because the Browns still felt like they needed a quarterback. They felt like they had the quarterback solved when Brian Hoyer took the field in place of Brandon Whedon last year. And after 2 games after that MCL, the leg injury, it looks like that was a question again. Everybody couldn't wait for Hoyer to come back, And interestingly enough, the idea of Johnny Manziel coming in, and now Hoyer is thought of in the same sentence as Brandon Whedon. You know, I'm uncomfortable with that. In spite of all of his talents. I feel like when it comes to Johnny Manziel, I feel like he's Cleveland's Me Too athlete. In that, when you look at other franchises, great franchises in sports, whether it be football or baseball or basketball, there's an athlete that you put on your banners, okay, that you can sell jerseys for, or that when people come into town doing business or for tourism, they can say, hey, I want to go see that guy play. For a long time, there was Derek Jeter in New York with the Yankees. Until maybe this past year was Kobe Bryant with the Lakers. Certainly Miami Heat has LeBron James. Tony Romo, if you will, in Dallas. You live and die with that. But Cleveland, who's never really had one except for LeBron James when he was here, is Cleveland now has that Me Too athlete. I want to go see Manziel play. That to me concerns me because I don't think a Cleveland franchise has ever been built around having one player, or has ever been truly successful having one player be the catalyst for the franchise. It didn't work with LeBron. And the way the talk is around here with Manziel, I know I'm just one guy. I'm just a fan. I'm just the person who pays my sin tax whenever I buy a beer, for that stadium. So I think I have the right.
I don't mean to work, but the same syntax where in restaurants you can't smoke.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So the idea of it is,
right.
I place a lot on him. Like I expect a lot from him because I don't think he necessarily did anything to shy away from that sort of attention. And somehow he sort of expects to deliver on that. I expect for him to deliver on that too. That being said, the Browns draft grade, I think based on that first round alone, because I don't feel like they really needed to address a lot of other needs in the draft, because I think that was already there. Even though, who's to say that they knew about Josh Gordon or not, I still think their draft grade is a solid B. Solid B. Okay. Because even if Manziel is the savior or whatever else, they still could have helped having another quarterback, and with his talents or his tangibles or intangibles, they certainly made an attempt at it, made a darn good attempt at it because Bortles was gone. So I think on that first round alone allows them to coast, and I give them a B.
That's good. You know what?
Okay.
And that's real. And like you said, we do run into this savior, save us, oh help us Cleveland. But the thing about it is, excuse me, at 22, you almost had to say, why not? At 22, that was a value pick that I believe they couldn't turn it back on. I believe at 22 was, me personally, I think he was underdrafted. I had Manziel in the top 15, but not here. And when you go 7 picks past how you had him already labeled and where you had him projected, you have to go get that. And then you go into what he can bring, what he would mean. All the other stuff off the field is extra. And what I say to people about that, because like I said, I was one of the main ones that said he didn't fit the division, he didn't fit the city. But if you draft him at 22, when you weren't expecting him to, and he fell to you in your lap, and you have pieces around him, I think he can make it.
Okay, see, and that leads me to the next question, and the last one, unfortunately, because we're going to move on to some NBA talk. You draft him, you talk about pieces around him. The most crucial or critical piece for a young quarterback, rookie now, is his wideouts.
It's tight end.
Got a question for you.
Okay, it's all his receivers, the skill at those skill positions. If I'm saying that correctly.
Okay, I got a challenge for you with that. All right. You say it's his wideouts.
And running back too. No,
hold on. Right, with that. Now, can you do me a favor then? Can you compare what you see out of Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M in his college career to Donovan McNabb out of Syracuse? Because Donovan McNabb did a lot having a pedestrian receiving core. And I would venture to say that Johnny Manziel, starting now, or whoever the Browns quarterback is on opening on when the season starts, has a better receiving core than somebody who did great with less talent. Do you really feel like Johnny Manziel can't be successful, even though we would have liked to see a better quarterback?
That's not my look.
Okay.
For me, the bottom line is this: we play in the AFC North.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, even though it's not as strong as it once was 5-10 years ago, maybe the AFC North is still a litmus test for the entire NFL.
Okay.
You understand what I'm talking about? And right now, I look next door to the Ravens and the Steelers, if not the Bengals even. And I ask, and I can't sit there and look, at their rosters. I did a blog one time called Paper Champions. I know what's on the paper don't always play out on the court or whatever.
Fair enough.
But at the end of the day, just based off what I'm looking at that position, I'm worried.
Because everybody else got him?
No, I'm not talking about Manziel. I'm talking about what's around him. You understand what I'm saying? Because at least at Texas A&M, he had Mike Evans. You understand what I'm saying? And here's the key. Going back.
He's done that with just Mike Evans.
Okay.
A terrible defense and no running game.
Okay, well, who's the Browns' Mike Evans? Exactly. And here's the thing. All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I'm not Please don't confuse Manziel's ability. I'm not questioning his ability.
All right.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he can't play. I know he can play. But at the same time, isn't it always said that you help your rookie guy out? Isn't that one thing? And then two, if we were set in this draft with the moves that we made, based on, like you said about the free agents we brought in, maybe you didn't need, man, I brought in, so in other words, I brought in, and I'm just throwing them out. Let's say I brought in 20 free agents, and I'm gonna keep them all, so I don't need to use all 10 picks in the draft. You get what I'm saying? So you said I'll just make some moves and I'll pick 5 guys.
Right.
All right, that's cool. Well then why, if you were set, if that's the plan, if that's the case, if that's what you're trying to do, then why even talk about bring in Miles Austin in? You don't need to bring in receivers if you know that the veterans that you added, based on, in other words, the veterans that I added, my draft was how can I say this? I don't want to say my draft was based off the free agents I brought in.
I think it was.
Okay.
Miles Austin wasn't a strategic signing. Miles Austin was a signing that you had to have because of the uncertainty going on with Josh Gordon. That wasn't a strategic signing. Miles Austin wasn't brought in to help Johnny Manziel. He came in to help the Cleveland Browns, period, whether it's Manziel or Warrior.
Well, who else would he be helping? He helping Manziel. Manziel already got a song out about him.
Well, that has nothing to do with the front of Berea. Berea didn't put a song out. Right now that's a line you're walking on that's almost going to the unfair side. You're want to question and blame Ray Farmer and Haslam and Pettin for the hype. The hype is gonna come with him. Nobody in Berea probably even heard that song. Okay, you right now you just say he got a song out. The song ain't gonna get him put into the starting lineup. The song ain't gonna beat the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you brought whatever it is that comes with that. You brought that here.
So wouldn't a veteran receiver or some veteran receivers, some that have played without expectations, wouldn't they be a better help to him than having to try to train and develop a rookie receiver out of this draft?
In this town,
that's great, Gully.
In this town, I'm going off our track record.
Okay.
In this town,
no, you gotta stay there.
No, I'm answering that. In this town, that has only happened once. Earl Hershiser and Dennis Martinez. We have if you go back 10 seconds, I'm talking about all three of our teams.
Earl Hershiser and Dennis Martinez, they served a greater role. They had a greater job responsibility for the Indians staff than seasoned veteran wide receivers that could probably help him.
Okay, so
Jay, listen what he just said.
Is he asking?
Gully is saying because the microscope gonna be on Manziel so tough. Gully is saying we don't have time for a rookie receiver who y'all want us to get in the second, third, and fourth round to come in here and get his growing pains and do whatever. To help Johnny Manziel out, to help Johnny Manziel out, like Gully's saying, you needed a veteran receiver who's been in the trenches, who runs routes, who gets open, who can read what's going on and help him out. Miles Austin ought to break a route off and come into the ball. Earl Bennett will break in on come back.
So did Devon Best.
Hold on.
That's if his hamstrings is holding up.
Hold on. Listen, that's a great point. I'm mad I didn't come up. That's great, man. Because you don't have the clock is ticking now. The clock ticked 2 weeks ago.
Especially since they brought in a guy, a huge hype machine around him. Mm-hmm. The Browns signed up for that. Like I said, and again, I think that's one thing that that all of us can agree.
Yeah,
there's something about the hype.
Yeah, you can bite off more than what you choose at times.
So in keeping with that, would it be a better help to him? Because here's the thing: you bring in a receiver that don't pan out, that's highly drafted or drafted in the round, a rookie receiver that don't pan out.
That's right.
Who's to blame? Is it Manziel or the receiver that's not developed?
But if he is as good as advertised,
if
Manziel is as good as advertised, then you do to me what Oklahoma City did, the Thunder. I know we're talking about basketball, different situations, but the principle is the same. Then you do what Oklahoma City did. You go get a Durant, you go get a Westbrook, and you go get a Harden. You understand? How much veteran leadership and all of that was in Oklahoma City?
And that's
I know. Okay,
that's what cost them.
But we want to talk about how that's going to work out. The idea of it is it's supposed to be championships, right?
Okay, but listen, but see, Cleveland
Needs to first get there.
Listen.
So wait a minute. So now I'm really interested in why you don't approve of Miles Austin. I mean, you played talking about a guy who played in the NFC East, a guy who played against some of the best secondaries and defenses
for 5 minutes. Man, Miles Austin stayed hurt.
But listen, you want to tell us, put Mike Evans, what he did at Texas A&M with Johnny football, and you don't want to say what Miles Austin done in his career. You want to put up a bigger.
I'm not saying that. Okay, let me ask you this: before the draft, who would you have taken at number 4?
Probably Sammy Watkins.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So in other words, now after all that, now you see that's the thing. After they done made all these moves, now brought all these guys in, this is as though we would never talk about Sammy Watkins to start with.
But here's what we did though.
We talked about Sammy Watkins as a compliment to Josh Gordon. That's what we talking about.
No, we talked about Sammy Watkins, and we talked about more so than the compliment of Josh Gordon. We talked about Sammy Watkins as a Maalox moment. Mm-hmm. That's what we talked about. Sammy Watkins.
Right.
To me, the complimentary aspect of it is just a icing on the cake.
What we didn't talk about, because no one talked about Justin Gilbert taking care of your defense completely.
That's right.
Giving you a complete defense.
Well, whose fault is that though?
Everybody, collectively, everyone who didn't really, the fault of that's everybody, because everybody looks at one thing. They look at what we can see, and franchises are, for example, that kind of goes back to why Mr. Newsom drafted Jonathan Ogden. He saw what we didn't see. What everybody else saw was a complete offensive line. He saw, I need Jonathan Ogden. What we see is Sammy Watkins either gives you your ace or gives you a complete wide receiver core. They saw, you know what, our defense is set if we get this other.
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is, if I see something that you don't see, then in other words, I'm set, right? Technically, you say you're set.
I think they are set.
If you set, then why are you going to go get guys?
Because they still needed more on the depth chart. I mean, think about it. Wait a minute. It doesn't.
So just because they tried to give them, not going to go get this here later on.
I'm not. But see that's my point. If you use that formula at your other positions, why not at the position that's decimated or hurt the most?
And that's what position?
The wide receivers.
You still the league still hasn't came out and said anything. We're going on straight speculation. This guy's starting to practice tomorrow.
And even if they do,
if it's anything less than a year, I have no problem with they done. Matter of fact, if it's a year, I don't have a problem with it because that would be 2 years. Because the boy is 23 years old.
And remember, if we still forecasting, remember next year the Browns have a pristine opportunity to rectify that because they got 2 number ones, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, and that's fine. And I'll say this. And then we'll jump into the NBA. I am basing my assessments off of history.
Okay.
And if know your history or you're doomed to repeat it. So since we talking all of this, I understand at the end of the day, at the core, what we talking about or what they did or didn't do, it has to make sense. Mm-hmm. And based off their history, it don't make sense to me. At the beginning it did. You feel what I'm saying?
But after him,
to me, it don't make sense because I say this. In this town, go off our track record. It don't look good. We done made these same kind of moves before. Now, if you're telling me at 22 that Manziel is better than anything else we ever got at that position at 22, man, that's not even an argument. That's obvious. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm saying this. Regardless of the decade, regardless of the era, I'm saying in our lifetime. Okay, I don't know about Jim Brown and Ryan and Paul Brown and all of that. You know what I'm saying? In our lifetime, every time, and we talked about this, come on now, before the draft, every time we identify and look for a savior, it don't work for us.
But the savior is being brought on by the media. Now, one person in the real said he our savior.
They never said it.
The Browns drafted 5 guys that you're going to see on Sunday. That's how I grade the draft. Not no developmental, because how many times you on the phone and said, wow, they drafted dude last year, he playing already. Wow, the Ravens drafted so he playing already. You got 5 dudes that you'll see on Sunday. And you say they're not while you're ironing, and you hear an announcer say Terrence West. You're going to hear an announcer say Pierre Desir. You're going to hear the announcer say that's a great pull block by Bigger Tony.
Okay.
You hear that?
Well, that's the point I'm at now. I'm taking the Missouri approach. Wait and see.
That's real.
That's what I'm taking. All right now. Moving right along.
So you never gave your grade. You said it was H.
I just
Come on, man, give the people, they don't cheat the people, man.
I'm not giving them. I don't grade them. I'm not giving my grade is a question mark.
It's everybody's grade, man.
Okay, that's my grade. I'm not
Can't
grading.
forecast, can't speculate. I mean,
No,
that's how our economy. Can you? Or you said no grade?
I said no grade. That's my grade. No grade.
So
yeah, right.
all right. So if
So
they're
nobody's
successful, you gonna give them an A?
Of course you are.
Okay, listen.
Is that a real grade? So until they when they go, if we win the Super Bowl, you gonna say, "Oh, they was good." I'm giving.
So I'm wrong for waiting to see?
Yes.
Wait, no, hold it. Maybe this is a bad analogy, but my son with the first week of school, he didn't get an A. He didn't get an A till after he took tests.
Everybody started out at 100%.
I don't know what they started out at, but I know he didn't get a grade until after he took the test. That's all I'm saying. Take the test. Pass the test first. Then they get a grade.
Let me ask you this. So nobody in the race should get paid to the draft. Today, produce what
They already got paid.
All right then.
They got to do with a grade.
Hold on, man.
We talking about the grades.
Yeah, that's your salary. That's our grade.
Right.
I get a grade every Friday.
But you go okay.
I get a grade every Friday.
That's after you work the week.
No, they had to do that to get me in the door.
No, they gave you an assessment.
Yeah,
They look at you. Okay, you say you get a grade every Friday.
Every Friday. Yeah.
Okay, but you start work on Monday.
Yeah.
Did you get the grade on Monday? No. Okay. Meanwhile, back in the match. Let's get into a little bit of NBA. Y'all got to forgive us here. You know what I'm saying?
All right. You got Brown.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, it's sweating, y'all.
Whatever.
I got the boy sweating, y'all.
The Western Conference, the Eastern Conference Finals are now underway.
Yes, sir.
OKC and the Spurs.
It's brooms out.
See,
I don't know about that.
It's brooms out.
I don't know about that. I don't know about
y'all
that.
couldn't even let me.
I don't know.
Y'all couldn't even let me.
Heavy duty. He ignited it. He started. You know,
A heavy duty room.
I'm supposed to just throw it back.
Swifter.
Just let it sit there. Wait till you
How
hurry up.
many other
And like the fuel, it's going. He just said it. He said it already.
How many name brand brooms you got? What you got? The heavy duty broom, the Swifter.
I got a Hoover.
A push.
I got a Hoover.
Who won't get? All right, first of all, who won't get
Okay,
sweat?
hold up.
I'm sorry.
Let me pose this to you all.
Okay, go ahead.
Game 1. We already know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the keys to the victory for the Spurs
Kawhi Leonard.
and not the victory for OKC.
Kawhi Leonard.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Go
Kawhi Leonard.
on.
That's all I need to say. Everything in the Spurs title run depends on him because you already know what you're going to get from Parker and Duncan and what you're not going to get anymore or not going to reliably get from Ginobili. What Kawhi Leonard was able to do was be effective against making it tough for the defenders, namely Kevin Durant, to do what they inevitably did. Okay, but it was a much longer, much tougher road to get there. Kawhi Leonard played aggressively. He played the perimeter. He did to Durant. Made it hard for him, just like he made it hard for Mr. Number 6 in Miami last year, and he'll do it again. He is the linchpin. He is the reason why they will or won't be successful. And if he continues doing that, then maybe we might not see a broom, but it may not even need to go back to San Antonio for them to go to the final.
My 2 words: Serge Ibaka.
No.
Gully made great points about Kawhi. I believe Kawhi Leonard is the linchpin. I believe Kawhi Leonard is the X factor because when he's aggressive from the jump, they're a tough team to beat. But his aggressiveness was magnified and him getting to the paint because number 9 wasn't there.
Listen.
Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Hold on. Serge wasn't there. You mean that there's no way Kawhi Leonard is going into the paint, pump faking, crossing over, Euro stepping, and dunking.
He's not gonna try it?
He'll try it, but send him to the line. It was almost and ones to death. Serge Ibaka is now, it's like when that year when Boston had LeBron them down 3-2, and Bosh had the abdomen problem. You didn't hear a name as much as you did through the whole Big 3 era. Now you're going to start to hear Serge Ibaka's name. That man been valuable to that team. Another point is Thiago Splitter had 14 points in the paint. No jump shot, all dunks. Are you serious?
Okay, listen.
If Serge Ibaka was there, he probably would have been playing because he's so
intimidating.
he would have been so ineffective that he would have been playing, which means Popovich would have had to go down his bench again and bring in Austin Graves or somebody else because he knows Splitter is ineffective against Ibaka because he's not athletic as Serge is.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. The most valuable player in the OKC squad is Serge Ibaka?
No, I mean, we're not going to go there, but in this particular matchup, no, because who did San Antonio play before they got to Portland?
Yeah.
That's another bad matchup. If the Clippers were in another bracket and came in, then Oklahoma City can play just like they are without Serge. But when you run up against Aldridge and Lopez and those guys like that have formidable bigs, you need your main anchor. And San Antonio, as old as they are, I don't care what you say, but the fundamental, Popovich is going to exploit this. I'm telling you, the brooms are coming out because all that's going to happen is Westbrook and Durant is going to think in their minds, we got to do more and play more, which means jack up more shots, more ISOs, or more whatever, and it's going to play right into Popov's hand. San Antonio is going to continue to attack the paint.
Okay, wait a minute. Whoa. Listen, once again, do not blur the lines. By no means am I saying that Serge Ibaka is not a key component. Not saying that. But I'm saying this. I watched last night's game. Even without him, OKC could have won that game. And I'm not placing blame. Yes, they could have. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you the difference. I'll go back to it again. The today BA player, for the most part, plays more so off their ability than they do fundamentals.
Okay.
From a fundamental standpoint, really, to tell you the truth, that's what worked. That's why the Spurs work. Because ball movement is 99.9% effective in any league on any level. That's the fundamentals. That's what Naismith had intent. That's how that's the key to championship basketball. Westbrook and Durant are great individual talents. But I'll say this. They play more often than not, I'm not saying all the time, but they play more often than not against each other than with each other. Why is it you think Tim Duncan, at 70,000 years old, is still as effective at this stage in his career? Because, like Parker and the rest of them in pop system, philosophy, whatever you want to call it, I have yet to see them break a sweat. They don't waste energy. You know why? You don't use up a lot of energy when you pass the ball.
So the person's name is Popovich then.
Not necessarily. I'm not saying coaching don't matter.
No.
I'm not saying coaching don't matter because, yes, it matters. But what people give Pop credit for being a great coach and all of that, as if though he went to sports science or something. No, he said, look here. When this guy come over here and you got the ball, and that guy over there, pass it. You know what I'm saying?
But like you said, he got this day and age's NBA player doing that.
Okay, so that's right. Okay, no, I'm not saying you gotta have something.
They all throwbacks. That's why it works.
Yeah, right. I was going to say that too. So in other words, and then one play in particular, and y'all wait, when we really get this thing rolling, we're going to have a segment here where we do actual game breakdown, like Kenny's pictures, but we're going to have our own little version. Meanwhile, anyway, there was a play where Tony Parker loves the left side of the floor, goes to the left side of the floor, they kind of trap him, pick whatever was going on. He splits the double team, works his way back to where the free throw line is. Okay. And he kind of hesitated when he got there because, he loved getting that free throw and pulling up for that jump shot. But he saw the guy step out on him, so he hesitated and went and got a layup. So in Westbrook's mind, and I'm not blaming Westbrook, I love his energy and his tenacity. I would love to play with him. You know what you're going to get. If you in a battle, to me, I know basketball really ain't the same as NFL, but in the NFL, I'll say every down is like combat. You understand what I'm saying? So in the sports period, when you're in competition, it's I don't want to say it's a war, but if you want to win, you got to be bringing it. Right. And he brings it. So I'm not knocking that. But the ball is inbounded right after Parker did that. And if you really, it wasn't a dunk, but you know how they call it posterizing when it got dunked? It really was a posterizing kind of below the rim kind of play.
Yeah, all right.
And Westbrook took it personal. So when they passed the ball back in, immediately he took off. And my thing is, especially in the playoff or round by round, every possession is extra critical.
All right.
And what you do, I tell my son who plays basketball, is what am I doing and why am I doing it as it relates to the situation? Every possession is a situation that's different than it was the one before or after.
Okay.
So in that particular instance, what Westbrook should have did, he started out right. Here we go with that word, terminology again. And he took the ball and he pushed it because he in transition.
Yeah.
But the Spurs had got back, 3 of them. So in that instance, he got to understand, be aware, because we always talk about the player's IQ, right? Pull it out. You don't, even though I know y'all like to run, you're not going to get a layup out of this. You have to see, like the out ahead. That's why they got halogen headlights, so you can see. The farther out in front of you can see, the sooner you know, hey, there's a curve coming up. You get what I'm saying? Right. You can't just ride up on the curve right here and think you're going to turn left and then not go off the edge, is what I'm saying. And that's what he does a lot. You understand what I'm talking about? He went and he missed the layup. Those kinds of plays can cost you a game. Then here's another situation, and now we're going to move on. A few plays later, Westbrook come down. He tried to do something, took about 6-7 seconds off the shot clock, realized he couldn't do nothing with it, passes it to Durant. I'm looking at the middle. On this particular possession, I'm looking at the middle of the paint. Not one person cut through. It's what the Thunder is. Here, you do it, you like the Cavs. Here, you take it and see what you can do with it. Now, that's why I say ability. Because these guys have an over-exceptional ability, they rely too much on it at times. You understand what I'm saying? Basketball, again, at its core, is so simple. I told my son, and this is the last thing, and I'm going to let you guys weigh in. You see this pick and roll. It's defended horribly in the NBA. But these are professionals we're talking about now. You understand? The guys our children look up to. You feel what I'm saying? Especially if it's none of us at Dallas. You feel what I'm saying? A pick and roll is defended easily if the 4 players involved, the team guy who has the ball, his man with your man, and the guy defending. I'm supposed to let the guy defending the ball handler know it's a pick coming, whether it's left or right, which in turn, if I'm defending the ball, will force me to put more pressure on the ball handler and force him further away from the three-point line. You only got 24 seconds, I remember, in the NBA. The further away I force you from the three-point line, the harder it is, and the more panicky you're going to get in trying to get a good shot off. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So let's say, so that's why I say it's defended poorly to start with. But let's just say they do get the pick off. Why guys try to run through the pick is beyond me. You understand what I'm saying? If you know you're going to send a pick and I run into you, instead of continuing trying to fight through, I'm going to stay right here because guess what? That other guy's going to come right to me. You understand what I'm saying? And then the opposite guy all y'all did was basically stay right here and let them 2 guys crisscross. Because either way it goes, one of y'all going to come meet us. You understand what I'm talking about? Right. So at the end of the day, man, I continue to say, from an athleticism standpoint, and an ability standpoint, and really from a coaching standpoint, no, I'm sorry, take that back. Let's leave it to the play. No, let's leave it to the floor. Yeah, let's leave it to the play. OKC really ain't a little bit better than Spurs. To me, they are.
Fully loaded.
They are. They fully loaded.
Okay, fully loaded, they're better than Spurs.
No, listen. Even without Ibaka.
No, sir.
Listen, without Ibaka,
no, sir.
You cannot, you just mentioned it earlier. And Barkley said it on Inside NBA. You cannot have Adams, Perkins, and some other guy have donuts. So if you, and this is another thing that makes Popovich great.
How are they better than if they can't figure out how to get that right?
Listen. I'm about to tell you, and I just said it really. The 2 key players do not do a good job of getting others involved early and keeping them involved often. And listen, if OKC right now played the Spurs basketball, they would win.
Serge averaged 17 and 9 when he was here, so how did it make that?
Listen, it's 12 players on that bench. Let me see. Let me make everybody. No, listen. And here's the example I'm giving you. Greg Popovich did it. He brought Bane in. How often does Bane play? You can add up all the Bane's minutes on one hand throughout the season. My thing is, and this comes to Scott Brooks, I'm going to Perry Jones. I know he can't deal with Tim Duncan from a skill standpoint and all that kind of stuff, whatever. But he's 6'9", 6'10". He might be able to give you some scoring because all that you really need, he's not going to give you, you're right, the 17, 9 Ibaka's giving you, but give me 12 on the interior. Okay. Because all it is give me something on the interior, and it opens up outside for Westbrook and Durant. You understand what I'm saying?
You know what? That's a good move because Perry Jones will run around. He will bring Duncan up to that 3-point line. But then I'm going back to Greg Popovich because now, like you said earlier, we was talking about Ray Farmer playing poker and chess and checkers. I'll take Greg Popovich playing chess or poker over Scott Brooks any day. And when you come with that Perry Jones move, he'll come with another move. So I'll take that.
What would it be? In your opinion?
Nothing.
He'll just live it out with it.
He gonna live it down with it. And guess what? He'll let you dictate it. You'll come in with Perry Jones, that means you sit somebody else down. If he's out there shooting threes, again, the hole is empty. So now, Kawhi Leonard will be rebounding. Ginobili will rebound. You see what I'm saying? So, again, after game one, it's all about chess and checkers. That's why I said, we switch it to the East now. People, I don't know if everybody's looking at, well, Miami did this or whatever. Let me tell you something. That was one of the more defining losses, not on the point basis, more or less than what Miami done and the way that they lost.
Right.
Miami changed lineup 5 times, and the others stayed the same ones. I told James we laughed the other day, if a guy beats you up 5 different ways, you better leave that man alone. They changed 5 lineups. It was serious. Not because, now see, Miami has an arrogant way about them of, we'll play this way, show y'all we good. We'll go small ball to show y'all that we good. No, they changed because they say they giving it to us that way, scrap that, come with another one. They had David West chasing Ray Allen.
Well, you know what? And let me say this right quick. After watching game one, and I know a series is not over, of course, after the first game.
But it's darn near close.
But it does tell you something. It doesn't tell you everything. It tells you something. But watching that game, after it went off, man, it just reminded me of the Oscar De La Hoya Pernell Whitaker fight. You don't remember that?
No. I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
De La Hoya had his own style. He had his back and all of that. He was the Manziel. He had all the power and whatever. But when he got in the ring, Sweet Pea's style was so frustrating to him that De La Hoya switched up from whatever he's left, whatever he's a sophomore. De La Hoya switched. He kept switching back and forth. He was confused.
He know what to do.
He and that's really what that game looked like to me.
And that's exact, man.
That's what that looked like to me. It was like, you know what?
But you gotta finish that through though, because what was the end result of that fight?
De La Hoya got the victory. No, listen.
All right, no. There's something to that though.
Yeah, right. It was politics involved. You know, so just like the Felix Stern. We're not talking about boxing right now, but the Felix Stern beat De La Hoya. But De La Hoya still won the victory show because the fight with Bernard Hopkins had already been set up.
So in my opinion, so in your opinion, I'm gonna ask you then, are you saying that no matter what we see on the court in that 94 feet, what it means for the series is still don't matter?
No. I'm not saying that. Okay. I'm going off of what he said.
And we talked about that too. Me and James did yesterday about is they going to let them play or is rematch?
Now you're going to the politics of it.
Predetermined.
Right.
And I believe because of both opponents and both conferences, I don't believe that's in. I believe whoever wins these games is going to go to the finals. And I believe again, Miami, for the first time in a while, man, Miami is about to have to play someone else's style. If they go big, like they're talking about going big, that's not how they play.
So
that's what I say. Miami looked, for them to have to change, for them to be 2-time defending champions, and them have to make 42 adjustments to your none, that's a bad sign.
And then when you openly say we may have to go big, that's not how they play. Miami likes running.
Right.
Miami like getting contributions from all 5 guys on the floor. So and if you got a stiff out there that's out there just to be rebound, listen, it's to the point now where they're talking about bringing Greg Oden in just for size. You didn't get him for that.
Right.
He's not even ready. He got back problems.
So, but then again, I had to ask, like, all right, so what did the Pacers figure out about themselves that makes them look totally different yesterday or Sunday than they did in the last 3 or this season?
Because you know what? They looked ahead 2 rounds, and sometimes you get that when you want to play somebody and beat somebody so bad that they overlook the Hawks, and they got so close the next round. No, Miami was going to beat Brooklyn, they were anxious. I have no problem with that. But they got together, they got there. This Indiana team now is the one that we saw for 3 months, the 46-13 team, before they started going. Listen, Indiana still, their only problem is themselves. If they don't turn the ball over, I'm telling y'all, they will beat Miami at 6.
Can they win the championship?
Absolutely, they can.
Yeah, see now you getting ahead.
Yeah, you want,
I'm sorry. I'll jump in.
Yeah,
I can't jump in, but Indiana can't.
No,
That's cool.
no. I said after the first game, what game 1 looked like to me. I did not say that has any bearing on the outcome of the entire series. Because here's the thing.
What do you think?
I honestly think Miami wins, and I'm gonna tell you why. Even though Miami made all them adjustments, there's still 3 factors that are basketball factors.
Okay.
That weigh heavily in winning and losing a lot of times.
Okay.
Miami, despite all of that stuff, there was confusion, switching this, switching that. They points in the paint was heavily in favor of Miami.
Wow.
54-38, I believe. I'm not sure
what
the exact number is.
I don't know about that. I think we gotta look at that, y'all. We gotta look at that. I think that was Indiana in the paint. Because besides Hill and George shooting jumpers, everything came in the paint with West and Hilbert all day. They were okay, I'll give you that for argument purposes. You were still almost I rebounded about 15.
Okay, that's I'm talking about points scored.
All right.
Now I'm not talking about rebounds. I mean, yeah, I think Indiana did out rebound them or whatever the case may be. But points scored.
All right.
Okay.
At the end of the day, points scored.
And another problem Miami has a problem with? Indiana scored 25 or more points in every quarter. Miami don't give up 25 points a quarter. Every quarter they score 25 points or more. And Miami only scored over 24 points in 2 quarters out of the 4. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that, but I'm saying this. For a team like Miami that's not big, to outscore a team that is big, whatever it was, 50-38 or whatever, and points in the paint, that's a telltale sign to me. In other words, when I say telltale, it tells me.
It can be looked at both ways. Did Hibbert make a change in shots? Did they make difficult shots in the paint? Breakdown. I mean, it can go either way, but I feel your point on points in the paint against a team that's bigger than you.
Yeah. Right.
But the thing Miami have another problem with is when you lose, somebody says, "Oh, he had an out-of-body experience here, whatever." You got beat by 6 dudes in double figures. Who said they had to change? If we share the ball and stick to this, who said Indiana to change anything? All they have to do is up their intensity times 10 because you got a desperate 2-time champ team coming into the night.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that. I just said points in the paint. Miami went to the free throw line only 15 times.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then lastly,
Indiana shot 37 free throws.
Yeah, see.
They were aggressive and in the paint.
But Miami missed a lot of threes that they normally make. You understand? Those, it just is, I'm not ready to write Miami off. Based on those 3 things,
okay,
I'm leaving game 1 where game 1 is at. You understand? Right. It does not say to me that, oh yeah, the way the Pacers did X, Y, and Z, oh yeah, they should win. No. To me, game 1 was game 1, box it up, put it off to the side. Because there are things that were in Miami's favor or in the Pacers' favor that weren't in Miami's favor and vice versa. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you told me that the way the Pacers, when we looked at it, the way the Pacers played and beat them, it's no way in the world that points in the paint, regardless of how they came about, that points in the paint would be so to the advantage of Miami.
All right.
Okay, I can't dismiss that.
Let me ask you, out of the 3 points you gave, one of them, like you just said, with points in the paint. If Indiana said, okay, let's lock down points on the paint, that's something Indiana can change. Going 6 of 26 from threes, who says you're going to make some more of those? I can step my defense up and stop people scoring in the paint. I can lock that paint down, but who says you're going to hit more threes?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
all I'm telling you, James, is I think it's about to be a bigger problem. If Indiana does not turn the ball over, and listen, and I'm not trying to say, oh, if we get 50 fouls from Paul Jordan, listen to what I'm saying. Because I always tell you, I watch the game inside the game. I very rarely watch a whole game, and I know what's going on all the time. I'm watching inside the game. And the adjustment I'm telling you is if they up their intensity, which is not too far-fetched to ask a home team or number one seed to do, right?
Right.
If I ask you to don't turn the ball over, is that asking too much? No.
Yeah, for them, because, for them,
okay,
you know why? Because
they have a propensity to do that. Okay, I give you that.
propensity, that's understatement.
Okay.
And if I got a bad habit.
And if I say
of doing that.
And if I say share the ball, things I'm asking Indiana to do are not that far-fetched. I'm asking Miami to play a style that they don't like playing. Is what I'm telling you.
And again, that's why I use the De La Hoya Sweet Pea reference.
Yeah.
Sweet Pea, without really throwing too many punches, forced De La Hoya to fight a style that De La Hoya, for all his years of fighting, that I was not used to at all. You understand what I'm talking about? So that tells me that's a bad sign for the guy who's supposed to be, you know what I'm saying, the people's champion. You get what I'm saying?
And when are they gonna say? And when are they gonna say? LeBron doing too much. He needs help, whatever. He's doing everything. And again, I've said many times before, they look like the Miami Cavaliers. But he went there to get their team up with this super team and do whatever, and he's still doing everything. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear any of that. He went there.
You need, if you got still one of the top 5 shooting guards in the league, you still got one of the top 5 power forwards in the league, and you still got a solid role player in Birdman. I don't know how much more help you need. Do you really need to sign Carmelo Anthony out of free agency and then trade for Kobe Bryant? I mean, if you need to do that, then go ahead and do that, and then call him the best player that we've ever seen since Jordan. But I'm not certain if something's got to change, something's got to give with that.
All right, fellas. Even though we had a few more things I wanted to get to, I really appreciate the fire that we brought here today. You understand what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, that's all the time we got for now. But we do want to hear what you all think. You can email us, theshopreport365@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Twitter @theshopreport. And remember, folks, anytime y'all want to know something, just come to the shop.
Come to the shop.
Walk-ins are always welcome. We gone? Let's go.
Is that it?
Oh,
All right.
peace.